Belief is the light in the dark. Humankind has always had faith, and we still have faith. Whether it be in ourselves or in a greater being, our belief is often our greatest strength. Here at Delapré Abbey, faith lies at the heart of its story.
Thomas, hurry up.
I'm coming.
Hurry up.
I'm coming.
Does it fit?
Welcome to Delapré Abbey. In 1145, a nunnery was founded on this site by Simon Senlis II. The nunnery belonged to the Cluniac order, a branch of the Benedictines, and the name Delapré derives from St Mary de la Pré, St Mary of the Meadow. Nuns would have inhabited this site from 1145 all the way up to the dissolution of the monasteries in 1538. Now that's 393 years of habits, devotion and prayer. Now compared to modern day life, that often feels like it's just charging ahead at 100 miles an hour. Life in the Abbey would have felt real slow. I mean, I can't help thinking how dull it would have been. But was it? In fact, there are reports of bad behaviour here at the nunnery. In the year 1300, not one but 3 nuns were publicly excommunicated with bells and candles for, according to the records, throwing their modesty to the winds. Now, if that wasn't suggestive enough, I'll leave it to your imaginations to decipher what this means. They abandoned themselves to the hateful lusts of the flesh, and of their own accord, given up their innocence. Oh, you naughty nuns. I can't say I'm surprised. They were given 250 gallons of wine every year for the celebration of Mass. That's 20 nuns, 250 gallons of wine, no one from the outside allowed in. To me, that sounds like one hell of a party. Although, with all jesting aside, life in the nunnery may have been slow, but it was by no means easy. Dedicating most of their day to prayer, with a mixture of emotions and strict discipline, it was definitely not short of drama.
So yes, we make mistakes, but we pick ourselves up and we try again, you know. Yeah, that's all. It's just to relate to us as you would anybody else, you know. Yeah, and also I think in history, particularly in history, that people didn't always become nuns because they actually really wanted to do or really had a sense of vocation. Often it was families that put them there. Perhaps they didn't have marriage prospects or something like that. And thank God we don't have to do that today. But it does mean that these poor women were put in places that really they weren't even all that happy. You know, and so it's bound to come out in some way, isn't it? You know, by doing crazy things and you know, that kind of. Whereas now, thank God, it is a free choice. You know, and so if you do it, then you normally commit yourself fully. I mean, it doesn't mean to say we don't ever do anything daft, but we do. But,
oh, we'd like to hear some of those stories.
Yeah.
The Cluniac order was the first organised religious order to emerge. Before their incarnation, monasteries operated independently of one another. Therefore, in 1145, the nunnery here would have had strong ties to what they called their parent community, the great Abbey of Cluny in Burgundy. The Cluniac order were also placed directly under papal protection, meaning they only answered to the Pope himself. Now, the Delapré Abbey that stands here today is not the same structure that would have sheltered the nuns all those years ago. However, there were common design elements to nunneries and monasteries that we can still see in the design of Delapré itself today. Where I am now is the cloister, which would have been a series of covered alleyways that surrounded an inner courtyard. As you can see, it has since been converted, but these lantern holders are clues of a time gone by. If you are one for gossip, which I most certainly am, the years to have been living here at the nunnery would have been between 1300 and 1316. Why? Well, that's because in 1311, another nun, one Agnes this time, she was excommunicated for giving up her religious beliefs and wearing a velvet gown in the choir instead of her habit. In 1316, the abbess, who was the boss, was excommunicated because the problem of naughty nuns had deteriorated even further. There was a serious lack of discipline in the nunnery. Now, there's a sentence I never thought I'd say. Abbess, you're fired. Of course, as with most gossip, we only know one side of the story. In the end, to control the situation, they appointed a vicar as master to oversee them. Unfortunately, the nuns can't give us their personal accounts of the situation, so we'll have to leave their side up to you. Fabi? Fabi! Fabi!
If you can laugh at things, it makes it so much easier, doesn't it? Particularly if you can laugh at yourself more than anybody. We're real people, you know, and we have our ups and downs like everybody. We have good days and bad days. But I think if you're happy in what you do, then you keep striving forward. So yes, we make mistakes, but we pick ourselves up and we try again.